Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. This is episode 21. This is an episode I'm super excited about. It's one I've been wanting to do for a while. So Timmy's been telling me about a guy who is super passionate about the Lord. They met up and he actually initiated a club. It's a run club. It's a Run with Christ. If you guys haven't heard of it, please go follow, see what they're doing. It's sparking a revival in the city. But I wanted to interview him and just get his heart behind stuff. And we went on to talk about so much, just things about the Lord, what he's been learning, the deception we have sometimes when we get comfortable. It's so good. I learned so much just from sitting down with him. So if you guys like it, please leave a like, leave a comment. Please go check out their channel. Keep up with what they're up to. Some bad news is that his angle actually stopped recording at 16 minutes. But the miraculous thing is that 16 minutes was about when he ended the first portion of it, which was his testimony, and we got the full testimony on video. So this YouTube video will be his testimony of how he started and kind of how he started with Run with Christ. But the full video with all the things I just mentioned, that will be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that. So please click the link down below to check that out. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys maybe get convicted and want to, just remember the flame that you once had and want to bring it back. So yeah. Hello, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me on here.
So I've heard a lot about you. I've heard a lot from Timmy. He's spoken a lot. And I just want to say, I've told you this before on text, but you have encouraged me. Just hearing about you, your story a little bit has encouraged me to, kind of step out more in faith because, sometimes you can try to be comfortable. And I feel like I was a little bit comfortable. And I think just hearing about your story, Run with Christ, it kind of got me out of that a little bit. So I just want you to know the power of testimony, like even just from a friend, that speaks well of you. He does speak well of you. So yeah, thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for listening to the Spirit. And yeah, so I just
love this guy.
This is my brother right here. This is my brother in Christ.
Yeah.
So I've heard like little things, but I've never heard your story. I kind of want to know how you met Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've gotten really well actually recently, like just explaining my testimony in like not like a super fast way, but like in a good way where I can at least hit all the points without
the important stuff.
All the important stuff without trying to I don't know, because anybody's testimony, and I always I've heard this actually from one pastor saying that your testimony is the second greatest story. No matter what. Obviously, Jesus dying on the cross, the Gospels, that's the greatest story, but your second greatest story is what happened in your life. And I'll always tell people Jesus saved me, but honestly, I knew who God was throughout my life. I was baptized Catholic. Growing up, I went to a Catholic church. Very weird situation where my parents were, I don't know, off and on with church. And then all of a sudden, we started going to a Christian church. I don't know. But then my great grandfather would bring me to a Catholic church. So I'm forcing I don't know, two things all at once. And I don't really talk about the Christian part of it because honestly, I mostly remember getting on my knees when they told me to get on my knees, stand up, Hail Mary, all these things, right? It's I don't know. That's what I remember growing up as a kid. But then I do remember half of the times I would go to a Christian church. And I just didn't really understand it. Didn't really have that relationship, that intentionality of talking to God, praying. I would close my eyes and try so hard to just think whatever the pastor's saying or think whatever they're praying over. But it's I didn't know as a kid growing up. Honestly, that was happening up until high school. I think I fell away from the church in high school. I will always tell my parents got divorced, but that's not the reason. That's not my testimony. My parents getting divorced isn't my testimony. Yes, there were some things that caused of why I was led in a certain direction or why maybe I led myself in a certain direction. But honestly, it all starts with high school. I would say my parents got divorced, which means I lived with most of the time I was living with my mom. Actually, the whole time I was living with my mom, but she didn't really have a lot of control over me. I was the youngest of four boys. So I got to see a lot of what my older brothers were doing, and honestly, I just tried to mimic what they were doing, which some of the times, most of the times, it wasn't so good.
Right.
And just having that freedom, like in high school, like giving a teenager freedom in high school, it's like not really the best idea, but it's also like nobody could tell me what to do at that point. I was very like hard-headed. And so I would do a lot of things. I would literally, I'd always tell people I can leave the house at 3 a.m. if I want to leave at 3 a.m., not even having to sneak out. I can slam the door if I wanted to and like walk out and do anything and everything that I put my mind to, which most of the times like wasn't so good. So just all throughout high school, like being able to do honestly like whatever I really wanted to freely, whether it be smoking pot, getting super drunk, you know, racing cars, literally you name it, like that's what I was doing in high school. But it's also like I didn't get any conviction of it because I also was doing a lot of good things in high school. Like it sucks to say, but like I was class president at the high school that I was at. I played football 4 years at the high school that I was at. I was very involved and had a lot of friends in high school. And so like a lot of people were telling me, oh, you're doing good, you're doing this. But then I felt myself like, now I can see myself like that's when I was losing. That's when I was lost. And I threw a lot of parties in high school, made a lot of friends by doing that. And so I was always like family oriented. And so from going to high school, like living the way that I lived in high school, and then right after I moved away to San Diego, I lived by myself in San Diego, actually with a roommate for a little bit, but by myself for the most part because we had different schedules, just by myself in San Diego with that like family and friend oriented mind, like, oh, like I want to like be with my friends. I want to be like have that connection with people, but like being by yourself and working a bunch, like it just led to a lot of bad things, I guess. Not so great things, I would say. I started drinking a lot by myself, literally like going to work drunk. I would bring a bottle to me for work. After break, I'd drink or even smoke a little bit, like whatever it was, like I would just do it by myself. And then I caught myself like going out to these places, like bars, clubs, in these different situations with people that I thought were not even friends of mine, but like I was just searching for such a big relationship, or I was just searching for a connection with somebody, anybody, whether that be friends, relationship wise, literally anything. So I was just in these situations. I put myself in these situations for that reason of finding something, of like, oh, like, yeah, I have friends and family here, but it's also like I was blacked out every single night. I woke up with my head in the toilet like almost every single day. And like, then it would just keep leading to more and more stuff. And so I like January of 2024, I think, I was still living in San Diego, and I think that was when I hit one of the lowest parts of my life, where something had happened one night and I caught myself being rushed to the ER, and honestly didn't even find God until June of 2024. But during that time, January to June, like after that situation, I couldn't get myself out of my bed, and I had the opportunity to work from home, so I could get up when I wanted to and still work. And then all of a sudden, like, go right back to bed, whatever it is. I can work for 3 hours, like have a really productive 3 hours, and then just go right back to bed, or go right back to getting a bottle or doing literally whatever. But just like, that was from January to June. And all of a sudden, like, I caught myself going back home a lot. Like, oh, if I had some time on my hands, I'm going to go back to Northern California for the week. And so it was one of these times during June, actually, the beginning of June, I went. And something had happened on the Grapevine. I usually like to drive at night, so I go straight at like 12 a.m. from San Diego to Northern California, and then on the Grapevine, I break down. And I'm like, man, why is all this stuff happening to me? Like, all this stuff, whatever. During this time, I was praying a lot because I knew something higher. I knew that there was something higher than myself. So I was praying a lot to the universe. I was praying a lot to the stars, the moon, like, just to show me that, like, please tell me you're on my side. Please tell me that you're real, like, that you're looking out for me. And all the more that I was saying this stuff, like praying this stuff to the universe, a lot of bad stuff started happening more and more.
Mm.
And then it wasn't until I came back beginning of June to Northern California, I was like, I got to move back. I don't know what's calling me back here. At the time, I didn't know, but now I know that God has brought me back for a reason.
Dude.
But at the time, I was like, man, something's calling me back here. I literally walked into my house after that night of breaking down on the Grapevine. I had to spend the night in a motel and then came back. I walked right in. I was like, this is it. Like, I need to come back. And so I literally left a couple of days later back to San Diego, packed all my stuff in a U-Haul, and drove back to Northern California. And I don't regret it, not one bit. I tell everybody like that knew me before. I told everybody that knew me before that I would never move back to Northern California. I would never, ever, ever come back to Manteca. And then all of a sudden I find myself in this place. So I remember one Sunday I was in my room like, man, like the lowest I could have been thinking, like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like those kind of thoughts, like really dark thoughts. Like, man, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't know if I made the right decision. I don't know if I am in the right place. I just am lost and without purpose. And then all of a sudden I just look at the time and it's early in the morning on a Sunday. I still didn't really believe in God. I knew that there was something higher than myself. So I was like, you know what, maybe I just try church. Literally like 5 minutes before service. I don't know how long before service, but I know it was that exact time. So I rushed out of the door, went to the closest church right down the street, which is Calvary in Manteca. Shout out to them because there was a guest speaker, I think. And all of a sudden, like, boom, I got this huge revelation. And it wasn't until though that I started going consistently and started going, like, I was like, 'cause I felt something there. Right. I felt like a good presence of the Holy Spirit telling me like, you're in the right place. And then all of a sudden I started going more. I started feeling more and more better about myself, about the decisions that I have made, and felt like I don't know how to really explain it, but there was one day on a Sunday that I got this huge revelation of Jesus telling me like, it's me, Jesus, that you were praying to the whole time. Call me Jesus. Like, I am real. I am on your side, but stop calling me universe. Stop praying to the stars. Stop praying to the moon. It is Jesus. And ever since then, I've been so on fire. Like, man, like, I can't really explain that. Like, how all that, like, he, like, called me there for this reason. Like, of maybe it's, I've, like, run with Christ aside. Like, he had called me back to find him. You know what I mean? It's just, and I'm so like blessed that I got to be in that situation. Honestly, like, I don't regret any of the things that I have done. Or I couldn't say that. Like, yes, I shouldn't have done all those things, but like, it made me who I am today, and how genuine, like, I'm trying to be for God. Like, I'm not trying to be, but like, how to explain it? Like, there's a passage that I shared about like your trials and tribulations. I think it's in Peter 1, but it's like you go through all these trials, and that is the source of how genuine your faith is with God. And so that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't regret any of that, because like my faith in God is so strong that I don't think, like, you know what I mean? He saved me. Without him, I'd be dead, you know? So, and then I started running a lot. During this time I moved back, started running a lot, started going to church a lot. And then all of a sudden I found Run with Christ when they first started, like one of their first runs. And I was like, this is it. I love this. I just was so locked in on what they were doing, and like how important it is for the young adults. I mean, it's for everybody, but honestly for the young adults, targeting the young adults for a community like this, you know? I don't know if that, like, but that really just sums it up. I know I said quick, but that may have
that's
been
good.
No, that's good. That's
10
good.
minutes or so.
No, that was good.
No, that's good.
It was good. It was like important stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like what you were saying just now.